Stop running down the meh and mundane hallways of life and tap into the magical. My name is Michelle Shutter. I am a life and leadership coach for women and host of the Life Coaching Classroom podcast. I'd like to welcome you to Life Coaching Classroom, where we walk with you in the hallways of life so you can align to the beautiful expansiveness of your true self through reconnection, reinvention, and rejuvenation. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome to class.
Hey, welcome back to this week's episode on the Life Coaching Classroom podcast, episode 46, which is all about, is your hustle exhausting you or expanding you? So I want to take a minute and acknowledge you for investing in yourself, and perhaps you are just done walking the hallways of the meh, the mundane, and the mediocrity. Well, I'm here to tell you you're in the right place, because today we are going to jump into that topic of hustle, right? Hustle is a juicy word that has multiple meanings, and it could be a noun, and a lot of times people might refer to something they're doing as a side hustle. We are going to look at it more in terms of the action, right? And the action, the focus. A lot of times when we use the word hustle, it has to do with the force, the busy movement, being hurry kind of fashion. And all of that creates almost this anxious energy within us when we are thinking about hustle. And I really want you to think about that and feel into it in a sense too. When we talk about hustle, when we talk about the force, the busyness, the hurrying, like, how does that feel for you? How does that land for you? It may be just fine because that's all your body's been conditioned to. And it may also create a little uneasiness because, I don't know if I like that feeling anymore. I don't know if I like that experience. And when we look at hustle in terms of the force and the hurried and the busyness and we got to get this done and go, 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 we have to begin to ask ourselves, how sustainable is that? Some people, you might be able to sustain it for days, for weeks, for months, maybe even years. But at what price? And what is the end result? Because the end result, no matter what time frame you are engaging in this type of hustle, the end result is burnout. The end result is overwhelm, fatigue, exhaustion. And it impacts all areas of your life. So many times we have been, though, conditioned to believe that doing the exhausting hustle is the only way, that the exhausting hustle is the right way. But again, by whose standards? By whose terms? And are we, because we've heard that, this is the right way, are we caught up in proving ourselves right? Because of the identity within us, what would happen if it was wrong? How would that land with us if we felt, oh my gosh, this I'm not right, this is wrong? And I want you just to sit in that space for a minute and see how your body reacts when you feel you're wrong. Is there a sensation that comes up someplace? Does it feel uneasy for you? And where is that sensation landing? Is it in, your gut? Is it in your heart? Is it in your throat? Where is that? Pay attention to that, because it really offers a lot of valuable information to you. But I also want to ask you, what if there was a different way to hustle? One that expanded you, one that fueled you in a whole new way, that was focused yet relaxed. Because I'm here to tell you, that possibility also exists, right? It's the contrast. Yes, we can have an exhausting hustle, but what's the other side of that? An expanding hustle. So let me share my story with you, and perhaps this will resonate with you in some way. So I knew that my coaching business really needed a new structure in some way to be reignited. And I didn't know what that was. And a few things would come to me. I'd act on it. And the problem was I'd immediately go into the exhausting hustle. It was like, go, 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 figure it out, cross things off my list, right? And at times I didn't even realize that that was my default. I would get different sparks and knew again, oh, maybe this is the structure that my life coaching business should go into. But yet I always retreated back to my old ways, and I landed on the exhaustion hustle train, and I couldn't figure out why am I keep repeating these patterns over and over again, until it came to me that I just had to surrender. I just had to let go. I had to be in the space of unknown, and I had to trust. And it wasn't just days that I was in this space. It was months. I kid you not, months that I was in this space. And for someone that has that energy of, I want to cross things off my list, and I want to, I want to be right, even though that is something I've been working on for a very long time, it was still very challenging. However, about 3 weeks ago, I jumped tracks and I went from the exhausting hustle train to the expanding hustle train. And I was fully engaged in that new energy, that new space. And the way that it unfolded for me is that in a matter of about 4 hours, I was able to map out my entire structure, not just a month, but a year's work of content for the different programs that I want to put forth in the life coaching classroom. Now, had I continued to approach this with an exhausting hustle, I could have still gotten to that same point, but it would have taken me months and days and hours that I just didn't want to sit in anymore. And I think that was the main reason why I just said, okay, I need to let go. I need to trust and just know that in due time, in the right time, it will all come to me. And it did. It's like I collapsed time. And it was such a relaxed hustle. It was such a flow that just came through me, and it was easy. There wasn't a force. There wasn't a busyness. There wasn't a frantic energy behind this hustle. It was a completely different kind of energy. It was an expanding hustle. It was a relaxed focus. And I share this with you because the expanding hustle versus the exhausting hustle applies to every area of our life. Every goal that we have set, every action that we take, we can choose to whether go into the expanding hustle or the exhausting hustle. And many times what I've found is that we choose unconsciously the exhausting hustle because of our wanting to prove ourselves right. That we believe deep in us somewhere that it should be hard, that this is the only way, that if I'm not sacrificing or pushing or exhausting myself in some way, that it's the wrong way. And I'm here to share with you that it doesn't have to be that way. It can be a fueling, an expanding hustle. It can be that experience for you. And as I wrap up this episode, I want to ask you, what if it was time to prove yourself wrong when it comes to this hustle? That we no longer have to choose or unconsciously choose the exhausting hustle. What if we chose the expanding hustle? What would be different for you? And so I'm excited to share with you what's coming up here in the Life Coaching Classroom, because in November, this month, we are going to dive into a life coaching unit study called Prove Yourself Wrong. And this is where you get to experience life coaching at no charge by participating in this unit study. So, if what I shared with you in this episode resonates with you, if you are looking to shift from the exhausting hustle to the expanding hustle, you're going to want to head on over to lifecoachingclassroom.com/unit because you can register there and get all the details. I want you to remember that exhausting yourself and engaging in this exhausting hustle is a choice. However, so is the expanding hustle. The expanding hustle just may not feel as familiar to you. We have a tendency to choose the exhausting hustle because it's familiar. That's what we've done for so long. And so because it feels familiar, we continue to choose it. But what if you proved yourself wrong so that the expanding hustle felt more familiar? I would love to see you in our next unit study, Prove Yourself Wrong, where you can again experience life coaching at no charge. And again, to register there for this, you want to head on over to lifecoachingclassroom.com/unit. I would love for you to share this episode with your bestie, someone that is in that exhausting hustle, but truly deserves to move into the expanding hustle. I so appreciate you. I am so glad you hung out for this episode, and I will see you in class.
Have you joined our monthly unit study? If not, you better head on over and reserve your seat at lifecoachingclassroom.com/unit. The unit study gives you an opportunity to experience life coaching at no charge. Again, register and get all the details at lifecoachingclassroom.com/unit. I do have a favor. Could you take a moment to share this podcast and Life Coaching Classroom with your besties? Perhaps they too are tired of running down the meh and mundane hallways of life. Let's give them a little spark in their day. Finally, I'd be so grateful if you take a minute to review the podcast. The reviews definitely help to spread the podcast to more women. Thank you. I so appreciate you, and I will see you in class.